The Republic of Venice, also known as the Wall Street of the Middle Ages. Hello everybody and welcome to History Abridged. It's history, just shorter. Today we're going to be talking about the Republic of Venice as requested by, I think, one of my first viewers. So thank you so much to you, Stefan Altitorvaldsen. I am probably still butchering your name, so I am sorry about that. So what was the Republic of Venice? Well, for most of its existence, it was a sovereign city-state that lasted just over 1,000 years, from 697 to 1797. It was, unlike most governments at the time, an oligarchy, a republic led by aristocrats and merchants. Their leader, the Doge, was elected by the Great Council of Venice, essentially, their parliament. So Venice's terrain is mostly just buildings and rivers, so farming there was a little bit difficult. So what they had to do instead was make deals with people like the Byzantines or the Ottomans or other great powers in that general area. As a result, they got pretty good at making deals, and they kind of got like really rich. Let's go back to the beginning, way back to the end of the 7th century. Roman power in Italy was dwindling, and that meant that raiders and invading forces like the Huns or the Lombards had a lot more freedom, and no one likes to get raided. So a group of lagoon communities banded together for protection, and thus, Venice was born. Within the first couple of decades, they organized enough to elect their very own leader, the first Doge. Don't do it. He tried to establish his own little dynasty by having his son succeed him. It didn't work out, just like every other attempt to establish a dynasty in the first couple hundred years of Venice's history. At first, they were a part of the Byzantine Empire, but eventually they gained their independence. They got involved in the Crusades like right away, and there was this time where a Venetian merchant snuck into Constantinople and smuggled a saint's body out, but unfortunately, there's a lot of cool stuff that I want to talk about, but I just don't really have time for it. Because of their immense wealth, the Venetians were able to start patronizing things like art or architecture and exploration. Some notable people that came out of Venice were Marco Polo and the composer Vivaldi. They traded with the Byzantines a lot, so they also got access to things like ancient Greek and Roman culture. So they started to play around with that, and because of that, they became early adopters of the Renaissance. But, just like all great civilizations, Venice eventually came to an end. The first sign of decline was when new trade routes opened up to the Americas and to the East Indies. This made their services less desirable. Because their trade routes were not nearly as necessary, they started to lose money. And because they started to lose money, their military started to shrink. And because their military started to shrink, they started to lose land, which made them lose even more money. And by the time Napoleon rolled around, they did not have the strength to fight back, and he does as Napoleon does and conquers them. Once Napoleon was defeated, Venice never really rose back to be its own thing ever again. What it did do, though, was join a unified Italy in the 19th century, which is where it is today. The Republic of Venice, the economic powerhouse of the Middle Ages, the early adopters of the Renaissance, and lovers of art, architecture, and exploration. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button as well as the little bell icon. If you have an idea for a future episode, please leave it in the comments. Or if you have something to say about this episode, please leave that in the comments as well. And as always, this is History Abridged.